Thank you, Representative Garamendi, for leading us in what is a very important bit of discussion. And, infrastructure in a broad term is something that needs our immediate attention because of years of neglect. But it comes to that water infrastructure that has been highlighted of late. I like to call it the hidden infrastructure. And it can't be out of sight, out of mind. That would be a very painful outcome if that's the approach that's taken by certainly us as legislators or by society at large. For a number of years, you're right, we have been discussing infrastructure. I have made it my goal to invest in water infrastructure for a number of reasons, but also because my assignment on the Energy and Commerce Committee as ranker, the lead Democrat, on the Subcommittee of Environment and the Economy, which reports to Energy and Commerce. And it is through that subcommittee that the assignment of the Drinking Water Act is housed. And so it's important for us to maintain a vigilance, if you will, for the outcomes that are deemed acceptable, and that is that we do not receive a D on our report card for water infrastructure. When you shared that information, Representative Garamendi, I thought to myself, if any of us brought home a D on a report card, there would be, a little bit of challenge offered our way to improve that report card with the next semester. And so I believe that we have failed in this effort to maintain a strong federal partnership. There's been a lot of finger-pointing going on since the Flint, Michigan issue rose in the public's awareness as a national issue. And that finger-pointing won't solve anything, but if we're going to finger-point, we need to also internalize that. We need to look at Congress and what it's done. When you talked about the levels of funding in the early 70s, I came onto my county board in 1976 in Montgomery County in upstate New York. And I can vividly recall that we had a very lucrative revenue flow from the federal government for our water systems. Today, what we look at is like a 4% investment on the total bill coming from the federal government. That is inadequate, grossly inadequate. And the fact that we can turn our backs on this infrastructure and allow situations like Flint, Michigan, or Sebring, Ohio, or Troy, New York, or Los Angeles, California, to grip us, to shock our senses, and not respond, leaves us in a very pitiful state, I believe. We need to do better than that. We need to form a plan of action. And that plan of action must include a stronger investment in the infrastructure, the water infrastructure of this country. Now, some of that requires also, I think, an enhancement of the investment made in the Drinking Water SRF, the State Revolving Fund. That fund has not been reauthorized since 2003. And so we need to go forward and reauthorize and enhance the SRF so that our states, as partners with the federal government, can then go forward and have some relief in responding to the strapped cities that are really impacted by declining tax base in many cases, a very small bit of population in some of our rural communities that are trying to maintain systems that want to speak to public health and public safety and to offer a commodity that is not only important but essential. It's essential for quality of life in our homes. It's essential for small business. It's essential for our manufacturing base. It's essential for our farming community. All of this requires water. And many suggest that we're transitioning from an oil-based economy to a water-based economy. So if we're anticipating greater use and greater reliance on water as a commodity, let's put our act into working order. That means that you invest, not like we did last year, where the outcome was at some $843 million. That was some $43 million worth of a cut. That's completely going in the wrong direction. That is not listening to the needs of local government or to the basic core essential need of water, sound drinking water, clean drinking water. It's blue infrastructure. That's what we need to invest in, making certain that we have an abundance and an essential supply of clean drinking water. It's absolutely mandatory in a modern economy. If we're going to compete effectively in an innovation economy, we need to provide the essentials, including water to the business and residential community, to the ag community. When I look at some of the neglect, it is so interesting to see that we wait for crises like that of Flint. Does Flint require federal investment? Absolutely. I stand ready and willing to assist Flint. What happened there I would rank as immoral. And so we need to move forward and assist Flint. But the story, the saga shouldn't begin and end there. We need to create a national response that empowers our communities across the country. And we need to have interaction, dialogue at the table to best understand where we have fallen down, where we have failed. We need to have officials from Flint, Michigan, and from the state of Michigan here to testify. I think it's appropriate for the governor of that state to walk away from that invitation. It's important for us to go forward with the sort of communication, the dialogue that will build the soundest response. And if we do not respond out of necessity to Flint and Troy, New York, and to Sebring, Ohio, and to Los Angeles, California, and the list continues to grow, we will then just see these issues keep rising in our communities. When I last saw Troy, New York's dilemma, they were repairing in the worst weather, conditions that were near zero, where they needed to heat the site in order to weld the materials that were completing the project. A major line, Representative Garamendi, broke their main line, a 33-inch pipe, shooting water 100 feet into the air, 10 million gallons into the street. Are we going to sit back and say that's acceptable in a nation like this, a nation of abundance that considers it a world leader? No world-leading nation can ignore its infrastructure like we have ignored the water infrastructure. Blue infrastructure is what we should be about, providing that clean drinking water. We have nearly 250,000 breaks annually in the systems from coast to coast. 250,000, 700-some breaks per day. Think about it. That wouldn't be acceptable to an ordinary business plan of any type. It should not be acceptable to the federal government plan to assist communities with the sound commodity of drinking water. So, Representative Garamendi, I am just thrilled to join you this evening to continue to carry the message forward that we need action, we need a plan of action, we need commitment, and we need resources, and it begins now. Every missed opportunity here will perhaps cause the opportunity for yet another tragedy in a community that just should not happen. So again, it's about investing soundly, effectively, appropriately in what is an essential commodity, that being water for our communities.